Brown.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Welsh Labour has had control over education in some shape or form since the inception of the Assembly. Sometimes they've been assisted by coalitions with Plaid Cymru or the Lib Dems, as they currently are now. Elements of the Estyn report today clearly show the people of Wales what happens when you hand control of education policy to one of these so-called progressive parties. Firstly, Estyn admit that only a minority of pupils have sound reasoning skills and can solve problems logically. This admission is absolutely shocking. Our schools are supposed to be preparing young people for business, entrepreneurship, science and research of the highest standards. But the majority of them, according to Estyn, in Welsh secondary schools do not have sound reasoning, problem-solving skills or grasp of logic. If this is the result of the progressive coalition policy, the Welsh public must wonder what both the Welsh Government, via its curriculum, are directing teachers and students to spend their time on. The report mentions time being spent on eco-committees, pupil councils, conflict resolution, community activity and charity fundraising, and such like, but raising standards in reasoning, problem-solving and logic through traditional subjects must take priority. Secondly, I want to talk about teacher retention and the impact this has on areas that Estyn monitors. Estyn talks about developing the profession. It outlines developing the right culture, supportive relationships, engaging with research evidence, using data and new technology, and leadership. They emphasise that unelected, and I repeat unelected, third sector charitable foundations, such as the NFER, the Sutton Trust, the Education Endowment Foundation, and the Joseph Rowntree Foundation play some role in gathering evidence to impact upon these updates. These topics, however well-meaning, should not mask or override the topic of teacher retention. It is not as simple as taking a new graduate and downloading the latest and greatest politically correct updates and research into them. Teaching is something that develops with practice and experience. Experienced teachers are a vital asset to Welsh schools, but Welsh schools are losing them rapidly. Stats Wales tells us that Welsh schools lost 334 teachers with 6 or more years of experience in the year 2014 to 2015 alone. The statistics present similar figures for each and every academic year since 2007 to 2015. Why are experienced teachers not being retained? Could all of the time spent on updates, training, data monitoring and such like, rather than practical face-to-face teaching, in fact be the reason why they become disillusioned and leave? UKIP emphasise that teachers do best when they acquire as much experience as possible by doing face-to-face teaching. We also emphasise that retaining those teachers has to be the way forward. Thirdly, I would like to talk about those who the Welsh schools have failed, specifically NEETs, those not in education, employment and training. Estyn say that at the end of 2015, just over 10% of 16 to 18-year-olds were in the NEET category. This is 11,500 young people in Wales. They report in 2015 that 19% of the age group of 19 to 24-year-olds are in the NEET category. That's 42,200 young people. Whether or not these statistics are some sort of an improvement on previous years is beside the point. These figures are far too high. They are again testament to the fact that the progressive coalitions that have controlled education for so long are failing large numbers of young people and families in Wales by not equipping them with the skills to live a productive and fulfilling life. To conclude, I would like to reflect on the Welsh coalition parties responsible for education for one last time. They like to describe themselves as progressive or the progressive left, but Welsh schools haven't progressed, at least not in the areas that I have highlighted. My best guess is that progressive is simply a code word for the complete destruction of all best practice, logic and experience that went before, and replacing it with politically correct updates and training from unelected third sector expert foundations and charities. Thank you.